Mark, do I have your permission to use our interview for a class project?
Yeah, you could use it.
How old were you when you came to America, and how was life in Egypt compared to America?
I was 7 years old when I came to America. My life in Egypt compared to the US was different in many ways. Like the traditions in the US were a lot different, and so was the cultures. An example is that was like kind of like the food. In the beginning, I was kind of not used to eating American food. Egypt food, it's a lot like more like rice and beans. So like having a lot of meat in my food was a little bit different. Another thing too was also like the religion. In Egypt, like the religion was a lot more like serious, and like the churches were like very big. But I didn't notice in the U.S. that like I'm like Coptic Orthodox. The religion wasn't as popular as it was in Egypt. So that was something as well that I noticed that was different.
How did your family get the opportunity to come to America?
So my family, the way we got the opportunity to come to America, it was actually kind of like a very lucky thing for us because I remember my mom, she like entered into this thing where basically it like gives a family an opportunity to come to America and like make a living there. So my mom entered there, and after like a few years, we got a letter one time basically stating that we could come to the U.S. and like live there, and that we have until this day basically to fly to the US. And that's like how really my family, we were given this opportunity to come to the United States.
Why did your family decide to take this opportunity and come to America?
So my family, we decided to take this opportunity and come to America because my mom knew that in America that the schools are way better, and the universities and education system is a lot better than Egypt. So she wanted us to come to America basically to like make our lives better in a way to have like a better education, and like the idea of the American dream was like in her mind at the time too. So this really pushed her to wanting us to come to America and like make our lives a lot better by being more successful and like being able to grow in the states.
Mark's story relates to the theme of immigrant opportunity because just like every immigrant, each of them had their own very special opportunity to come to America. And for Mark, that opportunity was through the lottery that his family won. After hearing Mark's story, how his family like won like a lottery to be able to come to America, I felt like that related to Forgotten Ellis Island because I feel like those families were also very fortunate and lucky to have the opportunity to come to America and start a new life. And then also how Mark talked about how his mom wanted to bring him and his family to America so he can get a better education. I feel like that also ties into Forgotten Ellis Island because I believe that the sole aspect of those families coming to America was to be able to better their lives and widen their opportunities here in America. What did you expect coming to America?
My expectations when I came to America, I didn't have too much expectation because I was still little, but I always had the like imagination that when we come to America, it would be like an like kind of like a Narnia thing, like it would be something that we've never seen before. But America almost kind of looks kind of like Egypt. We have like big cities and small cities, stuff like that. It just I guess the only difference was that the weather. I didn't expect that the weather would be super hot. I mean, the weather would be as hot as it is in Egypt.
What were some difficulties you faced when first coming to America?
Some difficulties I faced when first coming to America was learning the language. So I did have to take speech class to learn how to pronounce certain words and like learn more of like how to speak proper English when I'm in school and even when I'm outside of school as well.
What opportunities were you able to accomplish here in America that you wouldn't be able to accomplish back in Egypt?
Some opportunities I was able to accomplish here in America that I wouldn't have been able to accomplish back in Egypt is actually the fact being able to go to a university in Egypt. There are universities, but not good universities like Cal State Long Beach or other types of universities that other people go to. And I think that's a big thing and a big accomplishment too, because I know in the States having an education is very important, and that's like one of the main reasons even why my family wanted to come here as well.
Mark's story relates to the theme of immigrant accomplishment because just like every immigrant, once they come to America, they're able to achieve stuff that they weren't able to do at their home country. And for Mark, he was able to come to America, get into the education system, and one day he will become a veterinarian. After hearing about Mark's opportunities, I believe it relates to the movie documentary that we watched because Jose was able to use the U.S. education system to get the education that he needed to become a professional journalist, and now he's able to use his platform for change. I believe this relates to Mark's story because as he is a student right now, he's using the education system in the U.S. to gain his degree and become a veterinarian one day. Has being a minority ever hindered an opportunity for you?
Yeah, actually, being a minority did affect some opportunities for me. Actually, very recently too. I've been trying to do some clinical hours, and a lot of the clinics that I applied to, they're owned and run by a lot of white people. I did notice that when I would go in there, I was like the only colored one, and like I do these work interviews and I do a lot of stuff there, but they never bring me back until recently. I did find someone who was colored like me and did own the business as well. And he gave me a chance, and he even talks to me also about this, about how it's very difficult for people that who are colored like us to find a job because it's not preferred to have someone. He would tell me like it isn't preferred and it isn't easy for someone colored to be working in a clinical office as a vet. It was always just difficult for him, and it was difficult for me too.
Do you consider yourself more Egyptian or American?
I actually consider myself to be more American than Egyptian, mainly because of the fact that I've been in America and I've lived most of my entire life in America. So I do consider myself, yes, more American, but I do still practice some like Egyptian cultures. Like I still do celebrate Christmas on January 7th rather than December 25th. Certain things like that I still do take account for, and I do follow those cultures and traditions, as well as like Egyptian food. I'm still eating Egyptian food rather than American food just because of my own preference. But between like what I see myself more as, I see myself as an American, not as an Egyptian.
Mark's story relates to the theme America as a melting pot of cultures because he was able to bring his culture from Egypt and bring it to America so he can share it with his friends and family here, while also being able to embrace American culture. On page 70 of chapter 2, Carol Boyce Davis argues that America is a place that has a convergence of multiple places and cultures. This relates to Mark's story because even though he identifies more as American now, he still brings his Egyptian culture to America and shares that with his friends and family, and he still celebrates their customs, but while also celebrating American culture as well. Do you ever miss living in Egypt, and would you ever consider going back to Egypt?
I don't miss living in Egypt, but there are times where I do wish that I could visit back again and like see the pyramids and like get to like spend some time with some of my family members that still do live in Egypt. Those are some things I do miss, but I don't miss living there. I do prefer my life here in America a lot more than I believe I would in Egypt.